Hola, amiga, and welcome back to the Latina Leadership Podcast, the podcast for Latinas by Latinas, where every week we have real conversations about the issues and topics that matter most to our community. Topics like education, health and wellness, entrepreneurship, pay equity, and so much more. Get comfortable. We're bringing you another inspiring episode starting right now. Enjoy the show.
Hola, and welcome to another episode of the Latina Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Angelica Casares, and on today's episode, I have Gabriela from Latinitas. I've been obsessed with Latinitas for some time now, but before I go on about my obsession with Latinitas, Gabriela, can you introduce yourself to the audience? Who are you, and what do you do?
Thank you so much. I'm Gabriela Kane Guardia. I'm currently serving as the Executive Director of Latinitas. So happy you're a fan of the organization. I'm based in Austin, Texas, and I'm a Texan girl born and raised.
So, Texas born and raised where?
I grew
It
up in
depends.
Yes. I grew up in Plano, north of Dallas.
Oh, okay, we're good. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I want to talk a little bit about Latinitas itself. I have a huge obsession. Can you tell us what Latinitas, who they are and what they do?
Absolutely. We have a mission to empower all girls to innovate through media and technology. We do this by offering opportunities for our students to engage with informal STEM learning experiences. So we host after school clubs, we have summer camp, we have one-day conferences, and we have online coding classes for our girls. Most of the students we're serving, the Latinitas, are 9 to 14 years old. So we catch them right as they're entering middle school or going through middle school to really get them excited about STEM and let them know that they belong in the STEM field if that's what they choose to pursue in their careers. Latinitas has also grown to support the community and the families around the Latinita. So we have a multi-gen approach. We have opportunities for their parents to engage with padres digitales or digital parents. And we offer digital literacy courses to their parents to make sure that they can support the student by logging into the school portal, emailing with teachers, or translating documents. And so we really try to support the whole ecosystem around the Latinita.
So their ages range from, what did you say?
9 years old to 14 years old, most of them. And our coding
Most.
program does go into high school as well.
Okay. And why coding? Why specifically like the technology or um, how services or how products are served and how technology plays a role into it? Why that aspect?
So the organization was originally founded with the intention of increasing representation of Latinas in general, right? Originally, we wanted to see more Latinas represented in media, and from there stemmed due to wanting to see more Latinas represented in the STEM industries, the technology fields, and we know that Latinas are severely underrepresented and in these areas, and so we offer, for example, coding classes as a way for them to see themselves learning a coding language and pursuing a career. And we make sure that we offer career exploration as a part of that program. So you don't have to go into a coding intensive role. There are many other peripheral roles around coding that you could explore as well. So we want them to know all of the opportunities that are available to them and let them know that they can aspire to be anything they want to aspire to be. And we offer opportunities for girls to see women like them, to see Latinas or other women of color in these roles in the tech industry through these programs. So they get to hear from them and hear about their journey and know, oh, she can do it and she looks like me. I can do that too.
So because I was, of course, I'm nosy. I'm gonna start there. I'm nosy in the fact that I like to see where it started, and it's been almost 20 years, over 20 years. Latinita's been around.
That's right, in our 22nd year.
22nd year. So 22 years. So there's a shift, obviously, that's been happening for the last 20 years. And as you're going through that shift and that change, where do you think Latinitas, because I'm watching it in real time, but where do you think Latinitas is heading towards?
That's a great question. We're seeing the next generation is really interested in media and being influencers, right? We also see that there's a growing need for our students to be aware of emerging technologies like generative AI and the creative industry is just blossoming. So for me, I think creativity is at the heart of the future of Latinitas. I always say I cannot predict the jobs of the future, but I know if our students are creative problem solvers, if they think for themselves and they're confident, they're going to excel in many fields. And so the future of Latinitas for right now, as I see it, is making sure that our curriculum is founded in STEAM education. So I'm throwing the A in there, the A for arts, arte, cultura, creatividad. If our students are creative and they bring their culture, their authentic selves to this curriculum, to their studies, to their career, they're going to be much better positioned as they go on in their futures than to just having maybe a technical background. So I think bringing in creativity is really at the heart of going forward for Latinitas.
So I like that you mentioned art because I feel like art plays a big role into the creativity, and it plays a big role into like I feel like we're playing like roles with AI right now at this point where it's completely there. It's just like I feel like it's Simon Says, right? But as we're leaning in towards the innovative future and what Latinitas can bring to that space, we all know the digital divide is huge. We all know that the digital divide is real. Um, as we understand and explore the fact that internet, yes, is going to be like available for everybody, but what are young Latinas still missing? What elements are they still missing that maybe I don't see or others in the same realm or now? What is it that we're missing? What is it that they're missing that they're still needing? I
Great
hope that
question.
that question makes sense.
No, great question. Digital equity is one of our main pillars at Latinitas because we know our students need digital resources to succeed going forward in their studies and in their future careers. And so we're seeing that families still need access to internet, whether they have options available or if they're not, being able to afford the internet options that they have in their home is one of our priorities. We had some funding that come down from federal infrastructure dollars with the Affordable Connectivity Program that was allowing us to help get families enrolled in affordable internet as low as $30 a month or free, depending on the provider. Um, we also know that some of the families that we're serving are a single device household, meaning they have maybe one tablet or one laptop that the family shares. And we know it is increasingly important that students have access to their own device so they can be doing their own homework and not have to share maybe with siblings or parents who are trying to get their own work done. And so increasing the number of digital devices in the household is also a priority for us at Latinitas. We've been able to partner with Human IT, AT&T, Google Fiber, and Spectrum to help us in those digital device distributions. And the last piece of this is making sure that the families know how to use these digital resources. So we're offering digital literacy courses, making sure that they know how to make an email account, how to be safe from phishing scams, how to create an online banking account, online shopping, set up online health appointments, all the basic necessities that are so core to living in a digital world. And so we believe at Latinitas that everyone should have access to internet, digital devices, and the skills to use them, regardless of their zip code, the language they speak, and what gender they are. And so that's why we're on a mission to make sure digital equity is the core of our programs too.
I, you know, giving them computers is amazing, and I see that happen, right? You try to give all the resources. It's like giving a bike to somebody and then not teaching them how to ride that bike. And
Right.
it's fundamentals, it's the basic need and the basic necessities. Yes, they some people are like more inclined to understand and know how to use something, or maybe they're much more curious about things, but then there are those who don't know and they're so afraid, right? You hear about electronics being expensive. It's the only one you're going to get. You don't want to break it and you want to be very careful, and so you're not exactly experimenting with your computer. You're going as far as turning it off, accessing email, and maybe whatever other portals that the school gives you to be able to access other assignments or what it may be. But to be able to completely utilize that computer to its fullest potential, if I'm correct and if I'm right, is this what you guys are doing to be able to access its full potential of what a computer can provide or what it can do for you, your education, your future, family's future, and so on?
Ideally, yes. It's been an interesting process to be providing these classes because we have to scale. As the parents learn, they're ready for challenges too, right? So we've had to create different levels of our Padres Digitales courses so that we can teach very introductory courses. You'll see parents, for example, who are maybe putting the whole content of an email in the subject line, right? So we got to break down from starting at that point all the way up to parents who are ready to build their small business, and they want to design on Canva and design their own flyers and business cards and online promotional materials. And so it's been really exciting and a good challenge for our team to try to scale the learning opportunities for our families too.
I think so. I think having their own computer, their own devices, their own accessibility to the internet, wherever it is they show up, whether it's at school, at home, or like a coffee shop, to be able to access at whatever capacity, um, and not to have to fear that devices are going down or they're not, these bills aren't being paid because, of course, technology versus eating, it's real. It's a real, unfortunately, it's a real situation for those who don't have that access. So, Latinitas and moving forward, I think we talked a little bit about what you see for the future. What is Latinitas doing today?
We are currently in back to school season. We're really excited to be back in our after school clubs with our students on a regular basis. Um, We are also in the midst of Hispanic Heritage Month, which is a really special time for us. We become very popular this time of year, as you can imagine. We have a lot of great corporate partners who are volunteering and engaging with us to support us through this month. It's a great time to celebrate our cultura, celebrate our families. We just recently hosted a very special event called Culture is Strength, or Cultura is Strength, and this was to recognize the partnership that we have with JCPenney right now for Hispanic Heritage Month. They put out a very special collection of t-shirts, guayaberas, skirts, table runners, coffee mugs, and 100% of the net profits of this JCPenney collection benefits Latinitas. So it's a really exciting initiative that we have going on right now too.
Okay, so for those who don't, this is definitely going to be released during Hispanic Heritage Month. Please pick up your items. They're at JCPenney. Um, so as we're leading, what is it that, as me, just as a viewer, as a fan of Latinitas, how can I help what Latinitas does for the community?
We are always looking for folks to support us in a number of ways, whether it's volunteering at our conferences or volunteering with our students after school during summer camp. That one-on-one time with our students is a really meaningful way to get involved. I actually started with the organization as a volunteer myself and fell in love with the mission, so it's very easy to get involved with us in that way. There's also, if time is not your gift, there's also, you can donate to Latinitas. That goes a long way to support our staff. Most of our expenses are to pay for our staff time, and we have a staff that is from the community, that knows how to support this community the best. And so we're really, really proud of our teammates and want to support them and make sure we're empowering our teammates and living the mission from the inside out, right? And so donating is another way to do that, to empower the Latinitas mission so that our staff can continue their own learning, to continue spending time with students in a meaningful way. And then there's also, if you're in for a challenge, we have opportunities to be on our advisory council. That's for people who are looking to support the strategy, the vision, the future of Latinitas, who want to get more involved with the long-term, impact of the organization. So our advisory council is a really great way for people who are looking to support Latinitas as we grow into the future and hopefully expand our reach.
Okay, so Gabriela, I never let a guest get away with just talking about what they do, because I want to talk a little bit about you. So, where did you start off? I'm going to be really honest. You look quite young. Where did you start off? How did you become a powerhouse to become the moving force for Latinitas?
I've got this question quite a bit. They say, "Aren't you a little young to be
Okay.
an executive director, right?" And it's very humbling. I'm very honored to be in this position. I I'll take it back to um, when I was going to university. I went to Texas A&M University with the hopes of pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering, and I had a rude awakening when I met my counselor at registration, who looked at me and said, "Well, that's a really hard degree, and people like you don't finish." And I was so taken aback, and I was, of course, really disappointed. I ended up shifting gears and pursuing international studies in Spanish. And this, I found my passion with people, with culture, with arts. And so it worked out in my favor. While I was in school, I had an internship with the local gallery and ended up becoming the gallery manager when I graduated. And so getting to have an opportunity to work in community development, through the arts, really started fueling my passion for community service. And I wanted a challenge. I wanted more. So I buckled down and applied for grad school at UT and pursued a degree in Latin American studies. And in that program, I was also able to get a portfolio in arts and cultural management. And so I got a lot of nonprofit experience. And I met a lot of great mentors through that professional degree. And so I really attribute a lot of my success, my fast track, if you will, in getting that opportunity to go to grad school. When I was at grad school, I became an intern at Texas for the Arts, and I was able to go to the capital, the state capital here in Texas, and advocate for public funding for the arts. And I really learned in that internship to hone my voice, to know the power of my voice and my presence, and not be afraid to advocate for our community, right? And so there, I was really able to gain a lot of confidence. And in that experience, in the mix at Texas for the Arts, I ended up meeting some colleagues at Texas Folklife. They're a really great statewide organization. They preserve folk and traditional arts across the state of Texas. And so I started hanging around, going to their concerts and their gallery exhibitions. And one day their ED called and he was like, "Gabriela, I have an opportunity. Would you mind sharing this job opening with your network?" And I was like, "Hold up. I'm not going to share this. This is for me. This is my calling." I was so excited. I became the operations manager, eventually the deputy director there at Texas Folklife. And I was so happy to be in a space where I could work with Latino artists. We had a youth accordion contest. I got to travel to the Valley. I got to travel to Blanco, Texas for a fiddling festival. So many beautiful experiences getting to know the many different cultures of the state of Texas. And then it was through that time when I started volunteering with Latinitas and falling more and more in love with that mission of STEAM education, serving the Latino community. And so I was just really grateful when an opportunity opened up at Latinitas to join as the development director in fundraising and partnerships. And so it's been a long journey, but I think at the heart of all my different experiences to get here has been my people and my network who've really made these opportunities happen for me. And so always gotta be grateful to the people
Gabriela,
who put me in these.
sometimes it's I feel like it's kind of a tease to say you look so young. Um, but in true honesty, I know and I understand when women put things ahead of them, uh, great things are achieved. But some things, um, they're not lost, but you kind of, and understand the trajectory in which you want to take your life in. And I think that's very commendable because not a lot of us are willing to take that risk sometimes, even though it's like, I see it, I can do it, I know, I feel it, I already, I know it's me. And some of us is just so afraid to take that risk. And so, uh, I watch you, and it's such an inspiration to watch a young lady, a young woman like yourself, reach those aspirations as you're moving forward. And I think it's
Thank
amazing.
you.
And it's always for me, it's just a tease to be like, man, if only I had if only I had the gusto to look to, I don't know, lead myself forward the same way you have and the same way you did. What is next for Gabriela herself, whether it's with the Latinitas or somebody else or another organization, or who knows?
That's a great question. With Latinitas right now, we're working through a strategic plan, and I committed, at least to myself, that I want to see through the duration of the strategic plan and really implement all those goals, and then be confident to hand the organization off. And so I've been really interested in how else I can make a meaningful impact, right? Because people are, I think, going to be at the heart of my career no matter where I go. And I've been really interested in government affairs or government relations positions where they bring together public policy and social impact. So I could see myself, whether it's in a corporate position or in a policy facing organization, continuing to lend my people skills and my voice to be an advocate on behalf of communities. But I haven't pinned down what exactly that looks like, but I think public service in some capacity is going to definitely be there in the next steps.
I love that. People are going to be at the forefront of what I do. You see, you know, like you're such a you're such a breath of fresh air, to be quite honest. Listening to that and listening to what you do, how is your experience been as a first, second, or third generation Hispanic here in the States for you?
It's been interesting. I was born to an American father who was raised in the Panama Canal Zone, which was formerly an American territory, who married my mom, who's a Panamanian Mexican woman. And so them coming back to the States, it kind of felt like a first gen experience growing up here because neither of them had ever lived in the States. And so um, it was very interesting to be away from the rest of my family who was in Panama and Mexico, right? Um, I felt very estranged maybe from my culture for some years. I felt a little awkward, definitely growing up in school. But I was very fortunate every time I got the opportunity to travel home to Panama or Mexico. I just really got to had a deep appreciation for the vibrant culture, the local artists and artisans, the complex cuisine, all these things I was missing in Plano, Texas. And so I'm just so grateful every time I get to have those opportunities to really understand where I come from, and that has been a huge fire, to continue to celebrate our culture, knowing that there's so much more that we have to offer. And my worldview was really formed from these experiences, despite being raised in Texas.
It was an amazing pleasure to talk to you and seeing the trajectory of Latinitas and yourself. I am so looking forward to all the changes that you're going to be making in this world alongside, or if not, and because you're definitely taking Latinitas to a whole different level of which that wasn't there, but will be there once if you do leave it. With that being said, I ask a question to every interviewee here on the Latina Leadership Podcast is, Gabriela, do you consider yourself a leader? Why or why not?
Ooh, okay, this is fun. I definitely do consider myself a leader. Whether or not I signed up for this, I don't know. But people have put me in this position and I have answered the call. I would say I'm a leader because I'm not afraid to make decisions that will have an impact on others. And I trust that my values and my morals are going to be going to have a good reflection on on my community. And so I lead with that. I lead with my virtues in my decision making. And I lead with influence is one of my skills I've learned as a leader. Leading with influence and a very laissez-faire leadership style is also something that I'm honing. And so yeah, I'm proud to be a leader. I'm honored to be a leader.
My goodness. So, is there something, Gabriela, that I did not ask you that you'd like to share with us?
I was thinking about some advice. I think you had mentioned maybe share some advice, if I may. Um, I would love to encourage people to think about manifesting. And I know we hear everything, oh, manifest, but really, really being intentional about what you want to have for yourself and for your life. And a little secret of mine that I do on a daily basis. Um, I have something special as the background on my phone, the photo that's on the back of my phone. For example, when I was still in college, I set a photo of Austin as the background on my phone for a couple of years. I didn't know why, but I knew I wanted to move to Austin. So I had it, and I would look at that as a reminder every day of what I was working towards. And so that really helped me through some challenging times to remember why I'm in this moment and what I'm working towards. And so just something to think about is, if you want to dream something, if you want to achieve something, keep it really close to you. Keep it right in front of you where you see it every day so you remember what you're working towards.
I really like that. But again, Gabriela, sometimes I feel personally, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what I'm looking forward to. Maybe can you just give me a little bit of secret of like when you know what you're looking forward to, is it because it excites you? Or how do you know what it is that you want?
Yes, it excites me. I didn't even know why I wanted to come to Austin, but it excited me, and I had no idea why I would end up here. But I follow my intuition, and when I see something that I identify with, that excites me, that I think, wow, I could really, like, I have a lot of skills or I have a lot of interest in this. I just throw myself at it. It's funny to be in a place where all my interests can collide. I never thought I'd be in a role where all my interests would even possibly have an opportunity to have a role in that. And so I think that's what I would say. Share your interests with people, and don't be afraid to show up for your community and show up in the spaces that you want to be in.
I got it. So honing into your intuition to be able to manifest the things that you want. Got it. I think I got it. Okay. Thank you, Gabriela, so much for taking the time to talk to us. Where can we find Latinitas?
Visit us, latinitasonline.org. We're at Latinitas on all social media.
Thank you for joining us on the Latina Leadership Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your amigas, comadres, hermanas, your mom, your tias, or anyone who you think would enjoy the conversation. The Latina Leadership Podcast is a weekly video and audio podcast since 2020. Visit our online Latina Leaders Directory, join our growing community of Latina changemakers, keep up with our calendar of events, or reach out to us if you're interested in supporting the Latina Leadership Podcast by visiting our website at latinaleadershippodcast.com. And with that, we'll see you next time.